Hi, guys.
Hey, everybody. You good there?
Yes, perfect. Well, hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
How's married life?
Married life is awesome. I know.
Twinsies.
Here we go. I love it.
How are you guys doing this morning? That was kind of weak for BlogHer Health. Let's use our lungs. How are you guys doing this morning? Amazing. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I'm so excited to be here with you and all of you. Obviously, we were talking backstage, just saying how this is just a conversation. We're just happy to be here with women, supporting women, talking. Like, we're not trying to like hit all this, and this. We're just talking, having a conversation. So
having an amazing conversation.
For having me here.
Absolutely.
To have this conversation.
Such a pleasure to see her like here seated and not like, you know, doing pirouettes for a change.
Well, I realized this skirt is actually see-through, so
hey, we're ready.
Sitting tight.
So before we get into the conversation, I really do, because her bio is sickening, I just do want to like read some points just so that people know. So obviously Emmy award-winning, globally known for film, for television, and music. You became a household name with being the professional champion on ABC's Dancing with the Stars. Who watches Dancing with the Stars? Anybody? Before making that transition, or after that, I should say, like into recording music, and then, did anybody see Grease? Fox's Grease? Yes. So Grease Live, and then you and your brother co-directed and starred in Move Live on Tour, right?
We did.
So, and that just was across North America,
yeah,
right?
we actually went on tour. We were at Radio City here a couple times and went around.
No big deal.
And toured around the country and obviously dancing, singing and stuff, but really just trying to put out the message that the way you move directly affects the way you feel. So like, always trying to just be in a great place, because if we're like this, then like we tend to be a little bit more like, oh, this doesn't feel good. But hang on, let me just move my body for a second and I feel great. Woo! So that was our message with that.
Amazing. And you're a huge philanthropist, so you have a lot of endeavors in humanitarian efforts, as well as women's health and stuff around women and girls. But today I think we're going to focus really on your work with the Speak Endo campaign and your journey to really reclaim your health, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I think it's fantastic that like we're here in this space, which is predominantly women. Shout out to all the men that are here. Yes. And in a landscape where our women's health is so important now more than ever to really like reclaiming our health, and to speak to someone who in a sort of national and global stage has taken the risk, but also like allowed yourself to be vulnerable about the journey and learning more about your body, and even, you know, being diagnosed with something like endometriosis. So I think it's a fantastic thing that you're here sharing that with us and being so open and vulnerable. Will we receive her and her vulnerability today? Yes? Okay. So can you just start off by explaining to the people here, how would you explain endometriosis to someone who doesn't know what it is?
Well, I am not a doctor, but the way that I can describe it best is that there is a tissue acting like a lining that, instead of being inside your uterus, is on the outside of your uterus. And so for me, I mean, I had experienced this sort of discomfort and pain, and it's very debilitating. But back when I was, you know, 15, 16 years old, but at that point it was just like, oh, I think I'm just like a normal woman with bad cramps. You know, I guess this is just what it is. So, so yeah, it's definitely not something that is easily explained, because it's like a tissue and a lining that's outside of your uterus.
It's like renegade tissue.
Yeah, and it sort of is like, you know, spider webs, you know. So, you know, it's not pleasant, and it's hard to get a diagnosis, because it's not something that you can just see.
Right.
You have to, you know, be able to have, you know, information if it's hereditary with family members, and then go by like symptoms that you're feeling and stuff like that. So having a doctor that you trust and having an open dialogue and a communication is so important. And obviously we'll talk about that more, just in the sense that like, you know, talking about this can be an uncomfortable thing, or has been in the past, but it shouldn't be. It absolutely should not be, because this is our body, and it's the most important thing that we have, that is ours, and we need to take control and ownership of it.
Absolutely.
And ask the questions, start the conversations with your doctor, with your family, with your friends, so that not only can you help yourself, but you can help others that are going through this as well. So.
Right. Now, speaking about the symptoms, what was it that you were experiencing? Because I know that in your own journey, you kind of didn't pay attention for a while. You felt stuff, and then you kind of just were like, I'm gonna take some Tylenol.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So let's talk about like what that was like for you, and then what it took to kind of take the leap and actually start to work towards figuring out what was going on.
Definitely. So like I said, when I was about 15, I was like, this is just normal, I guess. And I'm a dancer, athlete, so I'm a tough cookie. I'm not gonna complain about this. I'm just gonna keep going. And also, you know, just being surrounded by other people that also, you know, are women. I was like, I don't want to be the one complaining if they're not complaining. So, you know, I just kind of sucked it up and dealt with it. And when I was 18, I had moved to Los Angeles, and I lived with a roommate who told me she had endometriosis. And I was like, endometriosis, what? Say, what did you say? That sounds way too technical, way too medical, like whoosh, just went right over my head. But when she started telling me about her symptoms and, you know, just having such pain and like, you know, during that time of the month, being curled over, you know, the toilet and just like feeling so bad. And then also, you know, explaining how like, you know, her, just like throughout the month, it wasn't just maybe during that time of month either. And so I was like, oh, this is interesting. That kind of sounds like me, but again, way too complicated. I'm not even gonna go there. I don't have time. I'm like doing this.
Oh, I don't
I'm
have
like,
time.
psh, right? Oh my gosh, time, right?
Right.
I don't have time. I don't care. Like, I'm fine. I'm a tough cookie. It's all good. So then a couple years passed. I was on Dancing with the Stars, my first couple seasons. And I remember, thank goodness my mom was there, because my mom made me go to the doctor. So I was dancing on the show, and I actually had a cyst burst, because obviously like cysts can be a part of it. And I had a cyst burst while I was on the show, and I was like, what had just happened? And my mom said, you are going to the doctor. I don't care if you try to fight this. And I was like, but Mom. And so we went to the doctor, and it was like probably 2 or 3 days before people really could kind of figure out what was going on. And while I was, you know, going to different doctors, my mom ended up finding out that she had endometriosis at the same time. So, and then my two of my sisters also. So it was again, because of my experience and having to go through that.
Right.
I was able to help my mom and my 2 sisters and
See how that works?
Stuff like that. So, but yeah, it definitely took a minute to actually get a full diagnosis too, because, you know, we went to the ER first, and then they were like, I don't know if this is anything to do with us. Maybe
Note
we should
to
go
self,
and see.
don't let the ER be the first appointment.
Yeah, and then I'm like 20 years old. I'm feeling poked and prodded and all this stuff, and it's uncomfortable. And you're like, I don't know, is there something wrong with me? You know, is this just something to do with me, or am I normal? Am I the only person going through this, or is there a lot of people going through this? And so at the time, 100% felt like it was me, and I was totally alone in this situation. It was very scary. But, you know, I found a doctor that like walked me through it and gave me, you know, comfort in knowing that you know, 1 in 10 women have endometriosis, and that, you know, it usually can take 6 to 10 years for a woman to even get a proper diagnosis. So, I mean, it gave me comfort in knowing, and I think we were talking about it earlier, it's like a lot of people might not want to know, because then knowing is scary what it is, but it's actually the opposite. I think it actually gave me comfort in knowing that you know what, it is a disease, but it's something that I can actually manage and control and actually help other people with by speaking about it rather than freaking out about it and feeling like I'm a victim of it.
That's right.
That it does not define me. It just actually encourages me to spread the word that I am standing, I am here, and I got endometriosis. Bam. You know? So
with all of the fan kicks.
Yes, fan kicks and leaps and everything.
Wait, so I think it's also really important, especially with this audience, because, you know, many of us are guilty in our own lives of putting off going to the doctor, you know, masking our symptoms. And the body is really clear. It speaks to us in a very clear language through symptoms, right? And so it lets you know, like your body's the arbiter of what's safe. So what you experience through your body is communication, right? So it's really, you know, important to start listening to that. So I love that you did and that you're now a huge advocate. So let's talk about like the Speak Endo campaign and really like what made you become an advocate in this way.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I love what you said about like connecting to your body because like I didn't want to even just acknowledge that I had it, but then the minute I started to, I realized that I actually know my body more than I think I do.
Anyone else too.
Well, more than anybody else, but more than I think I do. And so, like, even just being tuned in to that, I mean, makes me feel so much more empowered, knowing that, like, I have the choice, I have the power of what I put in my body, how I'm going to exercise, all of those things, that it is mine, and you know, like I get to take care of that. So as far as Speak Endo goes, I just want to raise awareness. You know, I think especially now with all of these amazing, incredible women speaking out about many issues, I think that this is just, you know, another point that, you know, it's about communication, it's about speaking up, it's about being supporters of each other. And, you know, I still have, you know, I got diagnosed back in 2008. And so, you know, even now I have friends that are just starting to reach out to me saying, oh, I think I might have endometriosis. Can you tell me about it? And I've sort of become this expert in like my friend club. And I'm like, absolutely, tell me what you're going through. Like, let me try to help and steer you in the right direction. Obviously, go see your doctor, number one, first and foremost. But that's what this whole campaign is about. So going to speakendo.com, you can talk, or you can read other people's personal stories. You can get information. You can read about what the symptoms are. And then, of course, it's all about community, right? So, like, we want to be able to be there for each other, to support one another. So the hashtag SpeakEndo is also a great platform for that. So if you guys, I would encourage you guys to use the hashtag, create a conversation, and just spread awareness. And there's a lot of people, like I said, 1 in 10 women that have it. And even if it's something that you're going to live with continually for the rest of your life or until maybe you hit menopause, then at least there's just comfort in knowing that you're in this together versus
speaking about together,
totally
let's talk
alone.
About community starting at home.
Yes, absolutely.
So community starts at home, right? So our friend groups, our family. So you have a husband.
Yes, I do.
And so we know your mom is super supportive because she's the reason that you took your behind to the hospital.
Yes.
So we already know she has a loving mom.
Yes.
But what about your husband?
Yeah.
So for many of us and you know, everyone in this room, I think in being in a society where you know, things that happen in women's bodies are considered like, nobody wants to deal with it, right? So in a setting where you have to educate your husband, but also children down the line, right?
Absolutely.
So what's been like the dynamic with you and your husband through this process?
So my husband, first of all, he's amazing. Let me just preface that first. But he also was like Canadian hockey boy, like surrounded by men. Like, oh yeah, woo-hoo, we got some Canadian hockey fans. I love it. But surrounded by men and, you know, didn't really have an understanding or knowledge or education about a female body. And so, you know, when we first started dating, I mean, I would have moments where I'd be like just talking all the time, be like, "Oh, hang on one second." And I'd be like, "Hang on," I'd like move my leg, and I would just be bent over, and he'd be like, "What is going on? Are you okay?" And like freaking out. I'm like, "Hang on, I can't talk right now. Hang on, one second. And then by the time it would sort of pass, I'd be like, "Oh no, I'm fine." And then he'd be like, "What just happened?" And I was like, "Oh, it's my endometriosis." He goes, "What?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess you don't know that. So let me explain." And so, you know, I was able to talk to him about it, and again, there was like peace in knowing that because I go through this, I don't have to do it alone. That like, you know, he's there, and now when I have my little moment, he's there rubbing my back instead of freaking out and being like, "Oh my gosh, what do? I don't know what to do." So he's there, you know, comforting me, and there's just, you know, again, like a safety.
Yes.
Where I feel secure, totally being myself, totally feeling like I don't have to be perfect and a tough cookie all the time. And he's a huge supporter of that. And it goes into work too, you know, and I think that like there's nothing to be ashamed about when you have something. I think that like being able to be vocal about it, that even shows more power. When you said like be vulnerable, I'm like, vulnerability is awesome.
It is.
Like vulnerability is like a whole level of strength and power that like I feel like people don't understand. And that is true authenticity, and that is the most beautiful thing. So for me, I'm like, power to vulnerability. I think
Yes.
is awesome. And by being that, you're also encouraging and teaching others to be vulnerable as well.
That's right.
So,
and you spoke to the value of also sharing with people how to support you. So
Yeah.
in your husband learning how to like take breaths with you
Yeah.
and just be patient while you experience what's happening through your body. This is also, you know, if there's any chronic illness or disease or anything that you deal with on a regular basis, it's important to also educate the people around you
Yes,
and how to be supportive, empathetic, and understand that everybody has something that they're carrying with them, right?
absolutely. And I was just gonna say too, is that for those people that, you know, are like, I don't know what to do, you're giving them a gift by explaining it and educating them so that they feel like they can help. And I think in the past, I've always been like, I can do it myself, I'm fine. Like,
well, let's speak to that I can do it myself thing. Who's the I can do it myself person? Anybody? That's not even like, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks I can do it alone, right?
Yeah.
So can you teach us a little bit about your personal self-care moments, like what you do to take care of yourself,
Absolutely.
to slow down and say like, I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Here's where I'll delegate or allow others to help me.
By the way, I'm still struggling with that.
Yes.
It is something that I need to practice every day because I'm so used to doing things on my own. My whole life has been about making sure that, you know, I mean, these are deep things, but like, you know, that I'm okay. Like that if anything were to ever happen, like I am in charge of my destiny and I can do that. And by the way, it's a great thing to still have that, but to be able to give some pressure that we carry on our shoulders ourselves, like to let some of that go because we cannot do everything. It is physically, emotionally, mentally impossible. Like if you can give that to somebody to help you, again, your weight is lifted,
That's right.
but you're also empowering someone else.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than giving, right? So
That's
like
right.
the secret to living is giving. So by giving that person the chance to give to you, that's the greatest gift you can give to someone.
Stronger together.
Yes. True.
So just to wrap, because you're amazing, we could be here all day, but you know.
I know, I can talk, sorry.
We could be here all day, but we'd love to know, I'm sure everyone would love to know, like, where you're going to be next, what can we expect from you? Will you be doing any more judging spots, any more films, TV? Like, what's going on?
Oh my goodness, a lot. You know, I actually just went to a business seminar the other day because I felt like, you know what, I'm an actress and a dancer, but I also, I want to be a business owner. I don't want to just be an operator where I'm just constantly having to like work to survive, you know? And so I'm trying, right? Did anybody else feel the same way? And so, you know, so I actually went to the seminar where I was thinking, like, what can I do to have the massive amount of impact in the world, but also, like, grow and learn as a human and evolve as a human. And so one thing that I'm really excited about, I actually haven't told anybody this, but I'm I'm gonna go on sort of a journey. I'm almost 30. And it's sort of like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? So I want to, you know, be able to document sort of going through, you know, figuring out what my purpose is. And I think that right now it's very focused on how, you know, fitness, health, energy work, mind, body, soul, they're all sort of compartmentalized. And how do we bring it all together so that we can really, like I keep saying, evolve in humanity. So that's sort of what I'm going to be documenting, and hopefully we'll be taking you along with me, because I'm not going to be regurgitating, being like, you should do this, but I want to educate myself, and while I'm learning, I want you guys to come along with me too. So
it's amazing.
So that's what I'm going to be doing. Maybe I'll come and learn how to be a doula. I don't know.
That's right. Come next week when we have a baby.
Perfect. So doing that and just trying to, again, spread awareness for endo, being a person of service. I think that is the best. Just advice somebody gave me was the more you give, the more you live, and everything that you accomplish is much more fulfilling when it's about serving and giving. So
that's right. That's amazing. So we'll be following her. So if you're not following her already, Jules Hough on social media, as well as her website, where she shows a lot of amazing stuff that she's working on too. So Jules, we'll be following the journey.
Sounds good.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry, I just stepped on your foot.
Okay.
Bye, guys.